Hey guys, before we start with the intro, um, I wanted just to say the story what we heard yesterday was was the scariest story we ever made on my YouTube channel. Oh, my my one of my team is still scared. The, the story from yesterday. It was Super Rocky Movie Helper. He is still scared about the story what we did yesterday. And and for but for today, maybe the story will be a little bit. I don't know. I didn't even hear it. The story really good, but we will find out. And why is the title like this? When the part 1 chapter 1, and then is there a question mark? Because I don't know how long I will going on, and this why I will say a lot like this, and then when we then stop where we stop, I will change the title and put the number where there is. But now let's start the countdown to, from the street start. Give me, and then yes, I see you in about 10 minutes, and enjoy some some music in space. Then yes, see you. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's start the stream.
Rocky's nightmare. Zuma woke up, ear pricked forward. Ugh. What is the noise? I can't sleep. Zuma thought, annoyed. Wait a minute, it sounds like whimpering? Zuma strained his ears toward the source. It sounds like it is coming from Rocky's pup house. 3. Maybe I should see what's wrong with him. Zuma stood up and opened the door to his pup house. Instantly a blast of cold air swept in. It was winter, and for a week straight every night dipped below freezing. The night was still and crisp. There was a foot of snow outside, and it was gradually building up. Zuma quickly shut the door behind him and silently, but swiftly padded toward Rocky's pup house, paws crunching in the snow. He opened and closed Rocky's door as fast as he could so as not to let the cold in. When Zuma's eyes adjusted to the dark, he saw Rocky on the ground constantly whimpering. Let me go. Leave me alone. Rocky showed his teeth, which still gleamed a brilliant white even in the dark room. Rock flinched as if he were being struck. Please, someone help me. Zuma decided he had heard enough and began shaking Rocky. Rocky, wake up! Wake up! He placed his furry paws on his chest, standing on his hind paws, and shook him gently. Rocky woke up with a gasp, then scrambled away from Zuma, who stood back on 4 paws. Who are you? Why are you in here? He asked hostilely, fur bristling. Rocky's eyes hadn't adjusted to the dark yet. It's just me, dude, Zuma said quietly. What's going on? You were talking in your sleep. No, I wasn't, said Rocky, a little too quickly, ears laying flat on the sides of his head. Yes, you were, dude, I could hear you from my pup house. You don't have to lie to me. Rocky's face fell. Promise you won't tell anyone? You're my best friend, of course, I'll keep a secret, said Zuma earnestly, a small smile creeping on the corners of his lips. Rocky laid down, curling into a ball, looking drained and dejected. Nightmares, he mumbled. I'm plagued by nightmares of him. He keeps chasing me with that knife of his. Every time I try to run, my paws get stuck. Rocky broke down in tears, great sobs being wrenched from him. Help me, Zuma, he cried. Zuma didn't know what to do. Seeing his best friend like this hurt him deeply. He hated not being able to help him. Rocky was on the floor, tears seeping from his eyes as he cried into his pillow. Rocky, I'm not sure what's going on, but you're safe here. I'm right here for you if you need anything. Zuma placed his paw on Rocky's shoulder. Rocky looked up at him with tearful eyes, taking a deep breath, fighting to control his emotions. Wow, whatever nightmare Rocky had really scared the kibble out of him. I hope he's all right. Rocky's not normally very emotional. Zuma laid down beside Rocky. Rocky, I'll sleep with you for the rest of the night if you want. No, you don't have to do that. It's okay, Rocky. I really want to. When I was a younger pup, my brother used to let me sleep with him if I had a nightmare. I didn't have nightmares the rest of the night after that. Well, okay, but only if you actually want to, Rocky said. Zuma wrapped his arms around Rocky, hugging him close. I do, and it'll be okay. Rocky was still crying a bit. Zuma licked his ears soothingly. He licked the tears from his cheeks and licked the top of his forehead, right between his ears in an attempt to calm him down. Zuma, please don't tell anyone about my nightmares. I promise I won't tell anyone. Soon, Zuma could hear Rocky softly snoring, a small smile on his lips. Zuma kept his body wrapped around Rocky to keep him warm. Rocky rested his head on Zuma's chest, pulling his closer with his paws. Zuma licked Rocky's ears for a little longer to make sure Rocky was calm and sleeping. He looked so cute laying there like that. Zuma was feeling delightfully warm, much warmer than he had felt in his pup house. As he allowed sleep to claim him, he kissed Rocky on the top of the head. "Good night, Rocky," he murmured. Zuma woke up first, yawning. He went to stretch, but he felt a weight on his sides. Why am I in Rocky's pup house? Oh, yeah. Rocky's nightmares. Zuma's movement caused Rocky to wake up. Zuma, go back to sleep," said Rocky. "How have you been sleeping?" Zuma said, yawning some more. "Great, thanks to you. Best rest I've had in weeks," said Rocky. "Your nightmares have been going on that long?" "Yeah, they started getting worse last week." "Worse? You mean this regular?" "It's not normally this bad, but to answer your question, yes." Rocky pushed his snout deeper into Zuma's chest. "I'm sorry, Rocky." "It's okay," Rocky said, his voice muffled by Zuma's brown fur. "I can deal with it." "You shouldn't have to, not every night." "We can talk more about this later," said Rocky, already falling back asleep. "Zuma?" "Yeah?" "I just want you to know, you're my best friend." Presently soft snores were again heard from Rocky. Zuma smiled. Then frowned at the next thought he had. He shouldn't have to deal with nightmares every night. Something bad must have happened to him. Zuma looked at Rocky in sympathy, thinking about how this was the best sleep he'd had in weeks. "Rocky did look a little off during our missions, but I didn't think much about it. Poor pup. He looked so peaceful and contented, curled up in a ball beside his best friend." Looking at the furry body next to him, he stretched his legs a little farther to cover Rocky's hindquarters. Rocky murmured at his touch but stayed asleep. Zuma continued to cuddle Rocky absent-mindedly. Zuma wanted to go back to sleep, but he was still trying to figure out how to help Rocky. 5 hours passed by, with Zuma still thinking. He slowly uncurled himself from Rocky and quickly stepped outside. Paws crunching in the snow, the wind froze his naked body. Zuma sat down and stared at the stars. "Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight, I wish I might, have this wish I wish tonight. Please, help my queen sleep at night." Zuma continued to look at the heavens, bathed in their majestic glow. Frost began to form on his fur. "I'd better go in before Rocky wakes up." Zuma can back in, warming up in the heat of the house before resuming his original position around Rocky. Rocky automatically snuggled into his, now warm, fur. "I'll ask Rocky about his nightmares first thing in the morning. Maybe they're trying to tell him something." Having made plans for in the morning, Zuma fell asleep once again, falling into a contented sleep. He'd never noticed before how soft Rocky's fur was. "I wouldn't mind sleeping with him again." Rocky's Past Part 1. Rocky woke up to Zuma shaking him again. "Good morning, Rocky." Zuma gushed, putting his paws down. Good morning, Zuma." Rocky moaned, stretching from snout to paw. "I brought us some food, here," said Zuma, pushing a bowl of kibble towards Rocky. "Thanks, Zuma." While Zuma and Rocky were eating, Zuma asked a question. "Rocky, what are your nightmares about? Maybe they're trying to tell you something." Rocky stopped chewing and looked at Zuma, then quickly looked at the ground. "It's kinda personal, I've never told anyone about them, not even Ryder." No, no, it's fine, you don't have to tell me, said Zuma, sounding a little hurt. No, Zuma, it's time I told some pup, but you must promise me something. Anything. You can never tell anyone what I'm about to tell you. It's too painful. I swear on my life, I'd never betray your trust. Sighing, Rocky motioned from Zuma to lay down aside from him. Before I tell you about my nightmares, you need to know my history. Can we go to the pup park today? Can we? I gushed, pacing around the house. Rick, my owner, laughed. Of course we can, Rocky. Just let me grab my hat. Rick walked to the closet and pulled out his baseball cap. Okay, let's go. I shot out the door the moment it was open. Whoa there. Wait for me, silly pup, said Rick, laughing. The park was only a 5-minute walk from where Rick and I lived. I loved going because I could play with other pups and share stories about our lives and such. I especially loved playing tag with my best friend, Marcus. Marcus was a mix, like me, and looked so close to me one could mistake us for brothers. He acted like on too. He was always making sure I was fine, and he loved to play jokes on me. But I knew he loved me like the brother he never had. And I did too. He was my best friend, until I met you. The moment the gate was open, I ran around, trying to find Marcus while Rick talked with Marcus's owner, who was his best friend, John. I found Marcus talking to a collie, who he immediately left upon spotting me. Hi Rocky, what's up? Hi, Marcus. Wanna play tag? I bubbled, tail wagging furiously. No. Oh, I said, looking dejected, tail drooping, never mind. Psyche. You're it, said Marcus, tagging me. Hey. You tricked me, no fair, said I, joy springing back up into my heart. If you catch me, I'll apologize. Marcus then sprang away with me in hot pursuit. Marcus and I played for a whole hour before our owners said it was time to go. Bye, Marcus, see you later. K, bye. Rick and I started towards home. You know what, why do we get a hot dog from Alex's hot dog stand? That would be really nice right now, don't you think? Yeah, awesome idea. I said enthusiastically. When we arrived at Alex's hot dog stand, Rick got in line while I waited for him. Suddenly, I was picked up and stuffed in a bag. Just like that. I was on the ground one moment anticipating a treat, and the next I'm wondering who turned out the lights. I tried to bark, but a rag was shoved into my mouth. I was thrown into a truck, which I found out later, and was driven away. I spat the rag out, barking for all I was worth. Help me, please somebody, anybody. I was suddenly hit hard in the side. Hut up, you mangy mutt. I whimpered, licking the side of my body that was hit. The truck began to move. Where are you taking me? I cried. You'll find out soon enough. I couldn't tell who was speaking, being in a bag and all, but I could still smell. It was the overpowering smell of alcohol and cigarette smoke. Please, take me back. I said, shut up. I felt the heavy wooden board smash into my side, causing me to howl in pain. I didn't say anything after that. And I never, ever saw Rick again. And I don't think I ever will see him again. Hours passed by, but it felt like years. My side was developing a nasty bruise, and the pain was excruciating. We stopped, and I was pulled out of the bag by my tail. I wanted to scream in pain, but I knew what would happen, so I kept quiet. Now being able to see, I watched as the man picked me up, rather roughly, and brought me into a dilapidated building. I could smell tears, but more importantly, I could smell blood. I knew something bad was about to happen to me. I was right. I'm always right. 3. He brought me to an old rusty cage and threw me in. Quick on my paws, I turned around and bit him as hard as I could right in the hand. The man howled in pain, cursing and swearing. Then he turned and smiled. A fighter, eh? He said, clutching his now mangled hand. The boss will like you. This struck fear into my heart as I watched him stagger out of the room. A little later a different man brought me from the dark room and put me in a room with a lot of other dogs. They ranged from collies to poodles, all of them with expressions of fear on their faces. And all of them in cages. I looked around the room. It was small, with a table in the middle with handcuffs attached to them. There was dried blood up under the table. Before I could figure out why I was placed in between a mixed dog and some other dog. Out of respect for that dog's feelings, I will not say its real name. I will refer to it as Jessie, which can be male or female, said Rocky, interrupting the story. It is very sensitive about what happened to it and admonished me not to say anything. Zuma's eyes were full of concern as Rocky continued his story. Then I saw him. I took a closer look at the mix, then it clicked. 2. Marcus. I shouted. Rocky? Oh my God, what are you doing here? He exclaimed, pressing his paws against mine through the bars. I was freaking captured. You? Same. We've got to find a way out of here. Ouch. I yelped, pawing at my side. Dude, what's wrong? Marcus exclaimed. My side. It hurts so bad. The man that took me hit me in the side, then again with a fricking wooden board. Rocky. Lay down, I want you to rest so you can get better. When we escape, you'll need to be able to run. Escape? Said the dog next to us. Let me in on that. Who are you? I said, turning to face it. I'm Jessie, you? Rocky, and that's my best friend, Marcus. Marcus blushed a little, not liking to be complimented in public. Please, when you escape, take me with you. Jessie pleaded. I've been here for 6 months and it's horrible here. Jessie, what happens here? Asked Marcus. Jessie is about to respond when a man walks in. He carries a large remote in his hand. Hello, my pets. A fine day today, is it not? I'm not your pet, you jerk. I have an owner. Rocky growled. Spirited one, eh? I was going to choose randomly, but thanks for volunteering to play today's game. The man slowly walked over to me and grabbed my cage. No. Please. He didn't mean it. Please leave him alone, screamed Jessie. The man coolly looked at it. Every dog must learn its place. You have been here long enough to know that. And now, he will learn his. Jessie broke down into tears, covering its eyes with its paws. The man pulled me out of the cage and knocked me over the head. I was too stunned to stop him from placing me on the cold steel table and locking the handcuffs over my paws. I was cuffed belly up, exposing all my soft and tender bits, legs and arms spread out, not uncomfortably, but I didn't like being so plainly, immodestly presented. What are you going to do to me? I asked fearfully, struggling, squirming, trying my hardest to get away. But the iron bands held firm, and I was not able to move. It not so much what I'm going to do to you, it's what you're going to do for me, Jason replied. But first, let me introduce myself. I am Jason. Jason Wright, if you must. I don't care what your name is. Why am I here? Where's Rick? Where is my owner? I am your new owner, pup, Jason said. Rocky whined. You belong to me, and I will do with you what I want. Now, be silent, or I'll make you regret it. No. Somebody, please. Save me. Rocky cried. Fine, we'll do this the hard way, Jason said. He whipped out a machete strapped to his leg and slashed Rocky across the chest. Rocky howled in pain. I said shut up. Or do you want more? Jason asked. Rocky whimpered and shook his head. Good boy, Jason replied. Rocky tried to lick himself, but his current situation would not allow it. Now are you gonna listen, or not? 5. I'll listen, I'll listen. Just, please, don't hurt me. Rocky cried. 1. Oh, I'm gonna hurt you, but it's nice to see you so submissive. A little bit of pain is all it takes, Jason said, putting away his bloodied machete. I'll give you a short reason for why you are here. I'm not worried about you getting away to tell it either. If you ever leave here, it will because you're dead. Rocky began hyperventilating. When I was younger, my father had a very good job as a heart surgeon. My family was very rich and very well-to-do. But then one day, my father accidentally cut one of the main arteries running to the patient's heart. The patient died within minutes. My father was shipped off to jail for 15 years. And when he came back, he found out that my mother had remarried. He did everything he could to get her to come back to him, but she refused. She was happy with her new husband, and she told him to leave her alone before she called the police. He told her that this wasn't over and that he'd be back. I should have known something was up, but I didn't. When I came home from school the next day, I found my mother and my stepfather died at the feet of my father. He murdered them with the same machete I carry around with me now. When I entered, he immediately asked me not to tell anyone what had happened. He asked me to come and live with him, saying he was sorry for not being there for most of my life. I was outraged. To murder my family and have the nerve. 3. Jason trailed off and slashed Rocky across the chest again. Blood splashed onto him. And you had better not howl, or I will kill you for real, Jason threatened. I bit his tongue until his fangs stabbed into it. Blood filled his mouth and streamed out the corner of it. Jason smiled at the evident torture and pain Rocky was in. I knocked him out, as I was much younger and faster than him, and tied him to our table. Then I directed him, piece by piece. Slicing of his fingers first, then slashing his legs open. As he screamed, I wondered if it sounded the same as how my mother screamed, and it made me even angrier. I made sure he suffered as much pain as possible before I sliced his throat open. It felt so nice, that I did to my cat and my dog, each time the feeling getting better and better. When the police arrived, I told them I killed him out of self-defense, and that he murdered my pets as well, which they ate up. I was off the hook. My chest went in and out as I hyperventilated. No. Please don't kill me. I'll do anything, he shouted. 7. No, I won't kill you. What's the fun in that? And I said shut up. Jason cut open his ear this time, and more blood spilled from Rocky's mouth as he tried his best to not cry out in pain, for fear of losing his life. At my father's funeral, when his will was read, I was shocked. He had given his entire fortune to my mother and me, and with her death, I became rich. But I still wasn't happy. With my mother and stepfather dead, heck, even my father, I had no family anymore. But, murdering him felt good, but it was short-lived. So I built this facility, so I can practice my favorite pastime. And I think you already know what it is. I shook his head pleadingly but kept my mouth shut. It's so much easier to kidnap puppies than humans to torture them, and much more rewarding. The talking ones are the best though. Are you ready, Rocky? No. Don't do this to him. Jesse screamed. Shut up, pup. Or you're next, he said calmly. This shut up Jesse immediately. The man fingered the remote in his hand. It's time for today's game. I'm naming it temperature torture. Rocky, was it? No, I won't go straight into slicing you up. Let's warm you up to the idea. Jason flipped a switch right. Immediately, the table began to heat up. I was shaking in fear, but at least the table wasn't cold anymore. It started to get pleasantly warm. Maybe it won't be so bad, I thought. Then Jason flipped the switch all the way to the right. The steel table began turning red. I screamed and screamed. Aha! Turn it off. It hurts. Oh whoa! I screamed. I struggled to push myself off the table, to no avail. All I did was buck my front side forward, which looked wrong. But I didn't care. The majority of my body was off the table, except my paws, but I couldn't help that. I also couldn't stay like this forever. I fell back, exhausted from holding myself up. Immediately I could feel the skin on my back cook and sizzle on the table. Please. Stop. I can't take any more. Jason just sat there laughing maniacally. Scream. Scream, he shouted, clapping his hands. Oh, I wanted to tear his face right from his head. I screamed and screamed. Have mercy. Stop, stop. I howled, I pleaded for mercy. TSK, Jason had no mercy to give. He was the devil born into man. The fur on my sides burst into flame. My wrists and ankles were seared with scars that looked exactly like the handcuffs. I screamed until I couldn't anymore. Jason turned off the table, and it immediately cooled down. It was a welcome change of pace from the heat, and it numbed the pain. Then Jason turned it on again, and the cycle started all over again. Hot, then cold, hot, then cold. I only had a few moments of cold to relieve my mind from its agony. Jason turned it to hot eventually, as far as it would go, and I felt myself melting into the table. I couldn't scream anymore, and blood streamed out of my mother, sizzling as it hit the searing hot metal that was cooking me like a piece of meat. Rocky! No, shouted Marcus. Jesse had passed out from the sight. 1. Just before I passed out from the pain, Jason turned off the table. Ah, that was refreshing. See, I was having a kind of bad day, till you showed up and made it all better. He unhooked me from the table after it had cooled off. I tried to scream some more, but I couldn't. He picked me up and looked at his disgusting handiwork. My back was seared black, all fur was gone. My wrists were seared black also. The only fur I still had on my body was on my chest, front neck, ears, and face, and front legs. There would have been blood, but the heat seared the wounds closed. You know, you have some of the best screams I've ever heard. Can't let you die, no, no, no. Henry, fix this pup up. I want him fully functional by tomorrow. And make sure his fur grows back, he smiled devilishly at me. So I can burn it off again. This was too much for me, and I blacked out. When I came to, I was back in my cage beside Jesse and Marcus. Rocky. You're alive. Marcus looked at me, tears streaming down his cheeks. That was the hardest thing I've ever done, watching you be tortured. I wanted to take your place so badly. Rocky, oh my gosh. You're okay, said Jesse. Whatever stuff he puts on us after he tortures us really works. It heals everything instantly but leaves the scars. But it can erase the memories, or the pain. It was right. I was in tip-top shape, aside from being cooked almost the brink of death. Even my fur was back. But my back still felt like it was cooking, searing, and my paws felt like they were still stuck in the cuffs, searing scars into my flesh. The pain was horrendous. I screamed and screamed as long as I had the strength. I threw up on myself. I almost choked on my own puke, because I was still howling in pain. The nasty stuff coated my fur, and it stank immensely. I howled throughout the whole night. Jessie and Marcus comforting me through it all, tears streaming down their cheeks. Rocky stopped there, trembling. It burns. It burns. Zuma, help me. Poor Rocky was reliving the pain. Zuma opened the door and pushed Rocky outside into the snow. Rocky rolled all over the snow on his back. Thanks, Zuma. Sometimes when I think about it, I can still feel the burning. I know I told you I'd tell you the whole story, and I will, but I need a break. 2. It's fine, Rocky. Tell me, as you're ready. Zuma cried. He thought about his friend being subjected to torture. I make him feel like throwing up. So he did. He ran a little ways from the lookout and hurled violently. He came back and rinsed his mouth out, spitting out the water. I know that was hard to hear, but I feel so much better after telling you, said Rocky. Zuma just nodded. Rocky shivered and trembled, and Zuma held on to him, and the poor pup cried into his chest. Zuma cried as well and held him until they both calmed down. Thank you, Zuma, Rocky said. Yeah, no. Sniff, problem, Zuma said. He bent his head and licked Rocky's ears. It'll be okay. Rocky felt shivers of a different kind course through him when Zuma licked his ears. Rocky blushed and snuggled deeper into his fur. He's so warm and soft, Rocky thought. Zuma pulled back and looked into his eyes. I'm here for you, okay, he said. Oh, okay. Rocky stuttered. Zuma was much closer to him than before, and Rocky found his eyes drawn to both his lips and his eyes. I wonder what they feel like. Rocky thought to himself dreamily. He shook his head and pulled away from Zuma hastily. What am I thinking? Zuma's a boy. And I don't like him. Where did that even come from? Zuma looked slightly hurt, and Rocky looked away from him. 4. Maybe I should have done that. He thought. Sorry, Rocky, I just... Just then, the pup's pup tags flashed. Paw Patrol, to the lookout. Ryder needs us, said all the pups, wherever they were. All except Zuma, who was still stunned. Come on, Zuma, we gotta go. I'll tell you the rest later. Zuma nodded, and the two ran through the elevator doors, where the pups had already assembled and fallen over, courtesy of Marshall. Zuma's feelings must have shown on his face because Sky asked. Everything okay, Zuma? You look like you've lost your best friend, and Rocky's right there. If only you knew how close the barb came to the truth. Come on, Zuma, fake it till you make it. Zuma plastered a forced smile on his face and with fake cheerfulness said, Oh, just thinking. I'm fine. Sky looked like she didn't believe him, but before she could say anything, the elevator went up. They were automatically outfitted with their outfits midway. The pups were excited to see that they were wearing their super suits. The elevator continued, then stopped at the top floor. They all jumped out to their assigned positions, but Rocky decided to sit by Zuma. Ryder raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Paw Patrol, ready for action, Ryder, sir, shouted Chase. Trouble at sea. Thanks for coming so quickly, pups, said Ryder. We have an emergency. The screen dropped down in front of them. A cartoon version of the mission was displayed on the screen. 2. Captain Turbot's flounder has sprung a leak in the middle of the bay. The ship is sinking fast, and Turbot is still on it. Even worse, there's a storm brewing, and the wind and waves are out of control. Oh no, said Sky. That's terrible. Ryder swiped on his pup pad. Mighty Sky. I need you to fly over the bay to find Tubit's ship quickly, said Ryder. This pup's gotta fly, said Sky doing a backflip. Mighty Zuma. I need you to use your powers to calm the water near the ship. I also need you to locate the leak in the boat. Let's dive in, barked Zuma, slightly half-heartedly. Only Sky and Rocky noticed, with Sky giving a small whine. Mighty Rocky. We'll need you to use your energy tools to fix the leak. Green means go, said Rocky. Paw Patrol is on a roll, shouted Ryder. Sky. Do you see anything up there? Asked Ryder, driving his ATV over the ramp, turning it into a hovercraft. No, not yet. It's getting really hard to fly up here. The winds are getting rough up here. Okay, stay safe, Sky, admonished Ryder. Wait. I see something. It's Turbot's ship, said Sky. Excellent work, Sky. Lead us on. As soon as Ryder and Zuma's hovercrafts hit the water, they lost all control, being tossed about at the mercy of the waves. Whoa! Zuma, you're up. Zuma raised his glowing paws in deep concentration. I'm trying, Ryder, he said through gritted teeth. This storm is really strong. I know you can do it, Zuma, encouraged Ryder. Zuma closed his eyes and pulled his paws in towards him, then extended them like he was on a tightrope. The waves quickly began to calm down around them, bent at the will of their new master. Thanks, Zuma. Let's go. Ryder floored the gas pedal, shooting across the water like an arrow from a bow, Zuma, and Rocky not far behind him. Then Ryder's pup pad showed Katie. Hi, Katie, I'm in the middle of a mission here, call me back later? Hi Ryder, just here to tell you that the storm has been classified as a level 3 hurricane, and it's quickly increasing in intensity and strength. Stay safe out there and get back as quickly as you can. Thanks for the warning, Katie, will do. Ryder, out. Zuma's aura of calm traveled with them. Soon they could see Captain Turbot. Help! I'm over here, he said, waving his arms in the air. Sky had landed next to him. Help has arrived, Captain. You're safe now. Zuma. Try to locate the leak before the whole ship goes down. Try to hang on while I'm gone, Kay? As Zuma dived down into the water slowly became more turbulent. Ryder, are we going to be okay? Asked Rocky fearfully. We'll be fine, Rocky, Zuma won't be long. And he wasn't. He came up about a minute later. Guys, I found the leak. There's a rock formation down here that Turbot didn't see. It tore a long tear in the side of the boat. Great job, Zuma, said Ryder, giving the lab a thumbs up. Zuma smiled before placing his glowing paws back into the sky. The storm had intensified much more than when they had first left. Zuma looked as if he were going to buckle under the pressure. You'll also like Sky. Get Turbot out of here, Ryder said on second thought. Before it gets too hard for you to fly. You've got it, Ryder. Sky picked Turbot up in her whirlwind and flew away. Quickly, Rocky, I can't do this much longer, said Zuma, who was now beginning to pant. In powers versus weather, the weather would eventually win. Rocky pulled out the sheet metal he had brought with him. I have to get in the water. I can't do it. I can't. I'm too afraid. Then Rocky looked over at Zuma, sweat on his face, holding back the waves. I have to do this, I can't let the team down. Go. Rocky leaped off Zuma's craft and splashed into the water. The water was very cold, making his muscles cramp up. Chunks of ice floated by him. Fear seized him for a moment. No. Not water. Not again. Rocky shook his head. Come on, Rocky. You have a job to do. Rocky swiftly swam under the boat, around the other side, with the aid of his scuba gear. Ryder looked down into the water from his ATV. I know he can do this. Suddenly, a flash of green shone from the depths. Come on, come on. Zuma's just about exhausted. As if to prove his point, Zuma gave one last cry and placed his paws down. Plus. I'm sorry, Ryder. I can't hold it anymore, said Zuma, a little guiltily. It's okay, Zuma, you've done enough, said Ryder. Rocky, get out of there. We've gotta leave now. Zuma's exhausted, and the waves will soon be too strong to get back. I hear you, Ryder. Just one more bolt, got it. I'm coming up, said Rocky over his pup tag. 2. Rocky's paws stopped glowing as he turned the last bolt on the makeshift patch. As he got ready to swim up to the surface, a wayward gust of water slammed him into the side of the ship so hard, it knocked out the boosters. Oh. The water carried him right into the rocks. The impact of Rocky hitting the rocks caused some of the rocks to fall on him. Mayday, mayday, said Rocky pinned under the rocks. I'm trapped up under the water, Ryder. The boosters have been knocked out and I can't move. 1. What? Exclaimed Ryder. Just as this was said, a rolling wave came in, causing Ryder to fight for control. Ryder. The hurricane is almost upon you, you gotta get out of there. Now, beeped his pup pad, Katie's worried voice coming through. Rocky, we can't get to you, the waves have pushed us back. We'll have to come back to you later, 'cause if we stay, we'll be overcome by the waves. Okay, Ryder, I hear you. Get out of here, I'll be fine. Then Rocky heard a thump, and then a hissing sound. A sharp piece of rock had punctured his oxygen tank. Ah. I'm losing air. My tank is damaged. Already Rocky's oxygen percentage dropped 15%. Zuma's field of calm completely disappeared. Ryder. I'll get Rocky, you get out of here, it's too dangerous. I can use my powers to save us, but I can't save you too. I'm still too drained. No. I'm not leaving you behind. What are you even going to do? I'll figure something out, but if you stay, you'll drown. I'm not leaving. Help, I'm down 30%, whined Rocky, beginning to hyperventilate. I'm sorry, Ryder. But you can't stay here. Zuma raised his paw. Don't you do it, Zuma. Sorry, too late. After harnessing the power from the waves, he pushed back with all his might towards Ryder. The wave carried him away, straight for Adventure Bay. Ryder's protest came over the pup tag, but it was too late, and Zuma wasn't listening anyway. He had already jumped in the water to save his best friend. Rocky was trying to use his power tools to clear away the rubble, but it wasn't working too well. Zuma? What are you doing here? You need to get out of this water. What, and leave my best friend to drown? Never. Zuma swam over to Rocky. What can you even do? I'm stuck here. There's no point in both of us. Don't say that. No one's going to die. He placed both paws on the side of the rubble. His paws glowed blue and Rocky felt a weight lift off of him. Quickly now, get out of there. Zuma was controlling the water around Rocky, forcing it outwards, which forced the rocks outwards too. The rocks moved just a little, but it was enough. Rocky quickly scrambled out, just as Zuma let the rocks fall. Thanks, Zuma, said Rocky, hugging his friend. I thought I was a goner. However, Zuma was having none of it, at least right now. Shrugging his friend off, he grabbed Rocky's paw. and swam to the surface. The top was worse than the bottom. Hell had broken loose, and Zuma and Rocky quickly went back under to orient themselves. Then Zuma had an idea. "Hold on tight, Rocky." "What are you?" Jets of water gushed out of Zuma's hind paws, propelling them in the direction the waves were going. "Wow, I can't believe that worked," said Zuma, amazed at his developing power. Great job and all, but we're going the wrong way." He was right. "Yeah, I know," said Zuma ruefully. "I'm too weary to stop the storm and I can't control it anymore. I can only follow the waves at this point and hope we find some land to rest on. I'm sorry to bring more bad news, but I'm running at 10% now." Zuma stretched out his arms, the same way he did when he tried to control the storm above water. Suddenly, the water around them began to be repelled, pushing the water into a sphere around the two. "How's that?" said Zuma, smirking. "How long can you keep this up?" asked Rocky, amazed. "A pretty long time. I'm just going with the flow at this point. I'm just keeping us moving. And giving you some air to breathe. You can thank me later." "Hey, does the water tickle your paws as it comes out?" asked Rocky, looking at Zuma's paws. "Yeah, a little bit," said Zuma, smiling. "You know, if I wasn't so concerned about you burning out and us all drowning, I'd probably be shouting in joy. This is actually really fun, given the circumstances." "Ah, thanks, Rocky. And don't wowie about me. I'll get us to safety or die trying." "That's what I'm afraid of," mumbled Rocky. Zuma was trying to put on a straight face, but as the hours went by, it was evident that he couldn't take much more. "Zuma, I think I see land over there." Zuma gazed in the direction Rocky pointed to. "I see it too." Zuma took control of the waves suddenly and blasted them quickly over to the island. As they were washed onto the shore, Zuma collapsed on the ground, all energy reserves all but gone. "I did it, Rocky." Zuma passed out. Zuma, wake up," but Zuma was out like a light. The wind whipped up again, and more snow began to fall. Zuma and Rocky began to shiver violently. Rocky wiggled under Zuma and stood up, carrying him off the beach. Rocky looked around quickly. There was a small clearing of sand a little ways off, and on it was a small cave. "I'll take him there, at least there's a cover from the wind and snow." After laying the increasingly cold body which was Zuma down, he went out and found some wet sticks and leaves. And put them in a pile. "Zuma! Zuma, wake up," said Rocky, slapping Zuma in the face. "Cold, so cold," said Zuma, semi-consciously. "Zuma, I need you to remove the water from these sticks and leaves. I don't get a fire started, we're not going to make it." "Too weak, I can't." I know you can, please Zuma. You can sleep all you want after, okay?" Zuma looked at the sticks, and drawing the last ounce of strength left, he commanded the water out of the kindling. The sticks were soon dry and brittle, and the leaves as crunchy as if they had been in the summer heat. Slinging the water out the entrance, Zuma passed out again. 2. "Good job, Zuma." But Zuma didn't say anything. Zuma's paws began to turn blue, and frost was forming on his fur. Not that this wasn't happening with Rocky, but he was ignoring the pain and focusing on the task at hand. He rubbed the sticks together till a spark caught, which he eventually blew into flame. After a while, he managed to build a pretty decent bonfire. He brought some more wet kindling in to dry out. After doing all of this, Rocky was exhausted. He put on some sticks and logs in front of the entrance to keep the heat in, then slumped at Zuma's side. "I did it, Zuma. I got the fire started." Rocky was shivering uncontrollably, not yet warm from the fire. Zuma was as cold as an ice cube, and still unconscious. Oh, no, hypothermia, you can't have him. Rocky dragged Zuma closer to the fire and laid at his side. He peeled off Zuma's ice-cold suit and put it in a corner to dry. Then he took his off and placed it next to Zuma's. He pressed his chest against his and wrapped his paws around the cold body. Slowly Zuma began to warm up, and he woke up for a fleeting moment. Rocky, thank you.
So that's for today's stream. I hope you enjoyed the story. We have done three chapters, and we have still a lot left. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We have 16 chapters left to do on this story. If you want me to do later again, just stand by. Maybe I will do it again in a couple hours. But for now, I'm ending this stream. If you want, maybe I will be coming back at maybe let me see. Maybe I will be come back at 8 or 7 p.m. But until then, guys, I see you later. Goodbye.